What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of New Parents in Training. So if you follow our channel, you would know that we use Instant Pot a lot, especially the new one, the Instant Pot with the air fryer lid. Because we've been using quite often, this lid has become like really dirty. Now according to the manual instruction, you're supposed to just wipe it down, but as you can see, the grease are still on there. We try to wipe it down as much as we can, but the grease won't come off. So the only solution I can come up with is just take it apart and wash them individually. Because there are some electrical wire here, I cannot really submerge this into water. Before we get started, I just wanted to give you a bit disclaimer. I'm only doing this for my own sanity because I want this thing to be clean. However, if by doing this will void your warranty, then do it at your own risk. Because by taking it apart, you run into a risk of you might not be able to put things back together the way it was initially. So I'm going to show you how I take it apart and some of the tips and tricks along the way as well. Now don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. A couple of tools that you will need for this job to be done is a Phillips head screwdriver. This lid does contain a few special screws. It's called the Torx screws. So you do need a Torx screwdriver. In this case, you need a T15, a 10mm wrench, a container to hold all the bolts and nuts and whatnot, a couple of this kind of loose ties. You probably will get them from buying stuff to begin with. So yeah, you should probably have some of this lying around at home. I'll put all the tools I use down in the description below so you can go check it out. Okay, so first thing you should do is take out the Torx screws, which are 3 over here. Again, those are the T15 screws. Alright, so here is the plate. You can see it's really greasy. But then if you look at the back is greasy too. Now if they just want us to wipe it, you can clean as much as you want in the front without taking it off, but how are you going to clean the back? So once the plate is off, let's take out the coil here. So the coil is held down by a screw here in the back and a holder here. So what you can do is take the screwdriver and then unscrew the back. Now once the screw is out, then you can push this forward and then up. So get this bracket out of the way. Now this thing can be coming off. Don't yank it too hard. There's 2 cables in the back. You can also take it out by the Phillips head screwdriver. There's one wire a little bit longer than the other one. For me, it's the red one. I'm not sure about for your particular lid. So I will do the longer one first. So this is the coil. You can wipe this down. You don't have to really wash it. Now in order to take out this plate, you have to take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, and then 3 inside, and then 1 of this nut here. Let me take out all the screws first. So if at any point the screws are really tight for you to turn and get it loose, don't force it. What you can do is you put the lid back onto the Instant Pot and just turn on the air fry mode and just air fry for a few minutes. Once this area is hot, it should be able to loosen up the screw a little bit because heat is supposed to expand the metals. So it should be easier for you to get the screws out. Because the last thing you want is to strip the screw, and you cannot take anything out. Okay, so once those are out, as you can see, this is a little bit loose now. What you need to do is to take out this bolt right here. So this is where the 10mm wrench comes in. So what you do is you place here. because it's very hard for you to turn, because if you turn, you can see that the fan is turning with the nut as well. So you need to have some kind of leverage. So what I have found is, this is super simple. What you need to do is hold on the blade on the fan that's sticking out, and you just turn. You turn the fan. See how easy it come off? Yeah, you don't even have to turn the wrench. Mind you, usually it's lefty loosey, righty tighty, but in this case, you need to turn the opposite in order to get it loose. So here is the bolt. Now there are some washers. Just make sure that you know where the orientation or the pieces go. So you have washer here, you have the smaller one on top. So just keep that in mind. What you can do is you also can take pictures while you are taking the bolts off, so that way you know where everything go after. Alright, so there's an easier way to take out this plate. As you can see here, this is the slot for the air vent. From the front will look like. This is the inside. So what you do is take your hand, you just grab it, and then give a little pull. It should come right up. Now, mind you, there's little plastic thing here, so make sure you don't lose it, because you need it to put it back. And it might just come off once you take out the plate, so just keep that. This is the plate. There's a rubber seal in the back. You can take this apart, and now you can wash the plate. Okay, now inside here, there's another smaller fan, and there's a bigger washer in between the fan and the plate. Now at this point, I would just stop, because the rest of the stuff, it seems to be pretty hard or even impossible to take out, because I don't think you can actually take out this, separating this rubber with this metal part. Now here comes this kind of wire. What I would do is to put it around the cables, so that way when you are putting things back in, it's easier to fish them out through the plate. I'll show you what I mean later. This will come in handy later. So you just do that. Otherwise, you will take in too much time to try to fish the wires out. So, okay, this is it. And let me go wash everything, and then I'll show you how to put it back. So I have washed all the parts. So what I ended up doing is using a pot, and then I soak all this into the pot with half of it in vinegar and half of it in hot water, and turn on the stove and let it cook. And while I'm at it, I throw in the baking soda. So there was a lot of baking soda involved. Just make sure that your liquid is covering the whole thing. Eventually, you will visually see the oil coming off on the plates. So I even wash some of the parts. When you are washing this plate, you can use scrub and whatnot to scrub it off. It might be easier. But when you are doing this one, just make sure you don't scrub it too hard, or don't even scrub it at all, because there's a layer of paint here. If you do it too hard, the paint will come off. Just FYI. Okay, so let's put it all back. There are two fans here. One is a small one, one is a large one. So the small one goes in first. There's one indentation here, so you can only go in one way. Once this is in, remember this cylinder washer is going in next. Don't forget about this rubber seal. This needs to go back into the plate. Okay, now this is in, rubber seal that go under the plate itself. So once this is in, then now what you need to do is to put it back in. Remember this clips. Now just fish through where the wire is supposed to go. Okay, so the wires fish out, and now just kind of line up with the metal part for this seal. Once everything is lined up, the air vent needs to go in first. So this part you need to push in and use your hand, kind of line up the rubbers underneath. Just make sure that there's nothing blocking the air vent. Right, you put the big fan back on. And now don't forget about your washers. There's two. Bigger one goes on the bottom, and then the smaller one. And then the nut. I'm gonna put in the coil last, so you can start putting in the screws for the plate. Now for the next part, you need to put this brackets back on. So the bracket would be the Phillips head screw goes on the bottom like so, and there will be small indentation, 3 of them, on the side of the plate, and that's where you will know where to put the brackets. Now after all this 3 bracket is back on, now it's time to put back the coil. So with the tie here, it's a little bit easier to work on. Whichever cable you want to work on first, release the tie. And get on the screw left over that does not have a washer. You might need to use your finger to hand tighten the screw at first before you use a screwdriver. I think it might be a little bit easier this way. Make sure it's tight. You don't want this to come loose, otherwise it will take you in order to try to open all this to get to the wire. And now to the other wire. Okay, when that is on, you can push the wires back down like so. And don't forget about this bracket that holds the coil in place. It might be easier to put it onto the coil itself and just slide it back on to the bracket here. Alright, so don't forget to put the last screw here to hold down the coil. Now we have to put this bracket back on. So there is a orientation. You just kind of have to keep turning until you find the right way. Again, this is the T15 screws that you have to put back on. Okay, so voila, there you go. That's how you take it off, wash it, and then put it back on. If you have any questions, comment down below. Until next time, bye.